Hello, everyone. It's the hardcore legend Mick Foley wishing a nice day to everyone there, right there at True Heel Heat. Yeah. What's up, True Heel Heat? True Heel Heat. What's up? True Heel Heat. All hands is on me.
Hello, hello, hello. It is me, your True Hill Phenom, SP3. We are live on the True Hill Heat, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter for our WWE WrestleMania 40 preview. Yes, we are live, folks. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate y'all. We got an all-star panel to talk about this Saturday and Sunday's two-night event. I am joined first by my regular colleague on Tuesdays reviewing Monday Night Raw, Mr. Romeo Anthony Colon.
What's up, y'all? What's up, everybody? Hope everyone's doing good. And I just, I hate to start on a bad note, but I just saw that Bray Wyatt documentary and woo, that was rough. I cried like a baby. But I had a great ending. I have to say that.
You gotta watch that with a significant other so you can like cuddle and cry together.
Also, I could cry again.
Yeah, that's what I'm planning on doing. But we are joined by a very special guest for our WrestleMania 40 preview. He is the head man at Brass Ring Media. You've seen his work all across different platforms, but he is a great voice and knowledgeable voice in the world of professional wrestling. He is our good friend, Zack Heydorn. What's going on, good sir?
Guys, it is going great. It's a busy week, but it's a fun one too. I'm super pumped. Haven't had a good cry in a while, so I think I need to watch that Bray Wyatt documentary. I haven't seen it yet, but it's on deck amongst a million other things this week. But I'm super pumped to be here with you guys, and yeah, let's have some fun.
You know, I spent like 2 hours yesterday watching a CM Punk interview, so like
I know.
I know there were some people that cried after watching that. So
yeah.
For totally different reasons. Yeah.
Two totally different reasons
Yeah.
right there. Yeah. But we appreciate y'all for joining us. We'll have plenty of talk about the CM Punk interview on the Flagship podcast this coming Friday. But we appreciate y'all to come and talk about this Saturday and Sunday, WrestleMania 40. We always start off these pay-per-view preview with gauging what's the buzz level. And a lot of people are calling this feeling like it's the biggest WrestleMania. It feels like the biggest build in quite some time. What is your buzz level 0 to 10 for this Saturday and Sunday? We'll start with Zack.
I'd say 9. I think this is a really like buzzworthy event for a multitude of different reasons. I mean, like you have a confluence of things coming together, which is a really hot product in general, a huge star coming back in The Rock, and a top babyface that WWE hasn't had in quite some time, kind of, you know, wrapping up that journey for the world title. And you put all those things together and, you know, you've got an event that people are talking about. I mean, you just think back to the last time The Rock was involved in a WrestleMania. Obviously that was huge, but the product as a whole wasn't as hot as it is right now. So he is, you know, adding on to that momentum already. I think things are clicking at the same time. I think everything is coming to a head on Saturday. It's at a boiling point, and now, you know, you can go right to it. So I think this is on the high end of momentum that WWE's had going into this show.
Yeah, I know a lot of people have like compared it to the build to like WrestleMania 30, and that's like the last time they
Mhm.
had this type of excitement. And it's another one that had a big pivot to their WrestleMania build for the amount of matches that really wasn't planned in advance because of all the things they have to change. I think my buzz level, I would say, is at like an 8.5. But I think before Saturday, it can get to like a 10. Romeo, where are you at?
It's a 10. This is Avengers Endgame. I mean, the way they
Yeah,
pivoted,
yeah.
everything from The Rock coming back and things not going the way he expected. They turned it into something that just it's like a 2-night storyline. It's night 1 and it's night 2, and it's like all these gauntlets and obstacles that Cody has to get through to get to finishing the story on Sunday. I like how they've blended everything together. It makes you look forward to both nights.
And it feels like the first time that they have made like a show to show kind of story with the WrestleMania 2-night event. Like kind of you could kind of separate like last year, even though it's kind of a 2-part story with the bloodline, but Big Loss on the second night kind of made that kind of people separate those two shows. But this year it feels like it's gonna have more of that connection and more of that thread line because of the two main events. But I
I
can
think
understand anyone if you sound off, let us know where your buzz level is at from 0 to 10. I'm sorry, Zach. Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna just double down on that. I mean, I think like the fact that you're able to string together 2 nights of WrestleMania plays a part in this, in terms of like the hype and the fact that 8.5 to 10 for the three of us, like that's that's super high. And I think the fact that you've got 2 nights that kind of are going to influence each other, that it feels like one big event for the whole weekend. And I think that's an important part to this whole thing too.
Definitely agree with you there. Sound off in the live chat, like I said, and we appreciate y'all if you're watching us live. Appreciate y'all if you're watching us on demand. Show that appreciation back the simplest way possible. If you're watching us on YouTube, drop the thumbs up on the video. It helps the YouTube algorithms oh so much. If you're watching us on Facebook, you could drop a like, a heart, an angry emoji, a happy emoji, however the WrestleMania build and your feeling about WrestleMania going into Saturday and Sunday. Let us know with that. And if you're watching us on Twitter, you can retweet and share. You can also share the video if you're watching us on YouTube. But most of all, if you're watching on any of those platforms, sound off in the live chat. We love to interact with all of you. If you're watching us on YouTube, to make sure your comment is highlighted on screen, you can send a super chat donation. Those are so important to what we do here. They go back to the contributors of our team. So we always appreciate the support. We got Eric Isaac in the chat who says, hello, THH fam. The greatest week of wrestling has begun. We got Control Z who says a 9 out of 10. So he's right along with Zach right there. And we got G Loke who says, what it do? Smash up the like. What a show. Yes, indeed. Thank you so much for guys already shouting out in the live chat. But let's get into WrestleMania 40, the 2-night event. And Dave Meltzer on the Wrestling Observer radio basically put out a tentative what he thinks the lineup is. So I've kind of organized it in that fashion. So we'll start off with night 1 here with a big match on the card. Rhea Ripley defending the WWE Women's World Championship against Becky Lynch. It feels like ever since Rhea Ripley defeated Charlotte Flair at last year's WrestleMania, this is the match they have been avoiding because they wanted to do it now. It's like they have been like two ships passing in the night on the Raw roster, not really kind of interacting with each other except for small little backstage segments. And then when we got to WrestleMania season, we saw more interaction and some great interactions between them, with Becky Lynch admitting that Rhea Ripley was better than her, but she needed to prove that she is still the best. She won the Elimination Chamber to earn this opportunity, and now it has become personal with Rhea Ripley bringing in Becky's daughter into play in a promo on last week's Monday Night Raw. Zach, what have you thought about the build to this matchup, and who do you think wins?
The build of this has been complicated because Rhea Ripley has just been so over, and just a tidal wave of momentum, and over as a babyface. People like her, and so I think they've had a hard time telling the story that they planned on telling, which was Becky kind of coming in and reclaiming her spot at the top, or at least having the momentum and the audience on her side to go up against Rhea Ripley, who's had this championship for over a year now. That hasn't played out the way they've wanted it to. So on one hand, I think you have to grade the build down a bit because of that, as they just weren't able to get their footing with this. At the same time, though, once it gets in the ring on Saturday night, you're all good. You've got two big stars colliding head on. They both know how to work. I think Rhea's going to get an overwhelming positive reaction. I think you may hear the boo birds out for Becky Lynch. But at the end of the day, this, to me, is about Rhea. This is about solidifying Rhea at the top of the women's division, and less about Becky Lynch kind of reclaiming her championship. So my prediction here is Rhea Ripley wins. She wins clean. And I think if they want to go with her as a babyface after this, you can have a moment with Becky and her, after the match, where Becky really puts her over more so than just getting pinned, either an arm raised or something to that effect. So this is about Rhea. This is a Rhea, notch on the belt type moment. So she gets the win, and then, she's off to the races after that.
Romeo, what about you? What have you thought about the build? Who do you think wins on Saturday?
Love the build. Love what they did yesterday. Mixing in Ariel Helwani show, mixing it up on there, and then taking that to Raw as well. And bringing up the daughter stuff, man, that got Becky really hot, and that's got me feeling like you can't do all that and then Becky loses. Like, what? I kind of think Becky's gonna win here. I know that's a curveball here. I know it should be about Rhea and putting her over. But if we put her over, what's next for her? Unless we got to have her switch brands or something, like do a draft like that. She's pretty much destroyed all overall. Destroyed. There's nobody left. So I think Becky's winning this. And then I also think that plays into everything that's going on with Judgment Day. I think Judgment Day they're going to lose everything, almost everything.
Crumbling, yeah.
Yes, and that's setting Damian Priest off another path. We could talk about that later, and I think Rhea is part of that. Her losing the title and being consumed with Becky and pushing Becky to this edge that she's at is going to cost her. Becky wins.
I was leaning with Rhea Ripley throughout the build until the question of, and then what, came for Rhea Ripley after she gets the win here. As great as it is for her to, back-to-back beat, Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch at WrestleManias, I feel like, who is there for her to face on the Monday Night Raw roster? There's Liv Morgan, but that's like a 1 month, 2 month program at best. How do we get to the next year where they can potentially do a Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair? Or something big of that magnitude? I think that you can set up maybe a Becky Rhea rematch if Becky wins here. So I feel like the options are more kind of out there, and especially the Judgment Day option of them losing everything and really putting Rhea kind of out of the leadership position. Because if she loses the title and Damian Priest, even if he loses the tag team title, still has Money in the Bank, he's now the leader. Like, in my eyes, he's the only one that has something that can be the leader of Judgment Day. So that will add more to the dynamic there. So I think that I'll go with Becky getting the win.
That's until JD walks into the Judgment Day clubhouse with the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal.
He ain't winning that, sir. That's Ricochet's to it.
Yeah, I think you might be right.
I think Ricochet's going to win that one. Speaking of which, with the Judgment Day, we have the 6-pack ladder match for the WWE Undisputed Tag Team Championships. Damian Priest and Finn Balor defending the titles against 5 different teams in DIY, The New Day, Awesome Truth, A-Town Down Under, Grayson Lawler and Austin Theory, and the New Catch Republic of Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. Very important note that was mentioned on Monday Night Raw during the 8-man tag between the New Day and DIY versus the Judgment Day is that both sets of titles will be up for grabs in this matchup, where that both sets of titles have to be pulled down and brought down before the match ends. So this seems like it is the official splitting of the tag team titles. Zach, what do you think about that decision? Who do you think wins each sets of titles?
Well, the decision to split the titles, I think, is a smart one. I mean, look, you've got every other title split. So it just makes sense to split those as well, especially if you're going to really start to treat both brands as like separate, and they seem like they are for the most part. Shades of gray, obviously, but so it makes perfect sense to split that. No question about it. The build, I think, has been pretty standard, simple builds here. A to B, matches to qualify, which I think is good. I think you want these teams winning and earning a shot at the championship. There's still time. I think it'd be good to hear from some of these teams as to why, it's so important to win, these titles. It's kind of been like, all right, we're going to qualify, and then, okay, we'll do a couple 6-man tags or 8-man tags to kind of build some tension and drama, and then that's kind of it. I think you want to put some context behind the win, which they haven't done. But that being said, it's a multi-person match. It's a ladder match. The thing sells itself in a lot of ways, and I think to that end, they've checked the box here, and it's ready to go, and they're good for WrestleMania. As far as who wins, like that's interesting. That is a really interesting, because there's 6 teams, 5 teams, and there's not that many like great options that are on the table. I think the root of my prediction here is Judgment Day continues to crumble, continues to fizzle away. And so for that to happen, I think they need to lose both sets of titles. So to me, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take R-Truth and Miz on one side to claim the Raw titles, and I think that'd be a good way to like finish the match off. Like Truth pulling them down, it's like a little nod to his year, and they get to hold the belts for however long and just do whatever. On the SmackDown side of things, Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne, I think, are a strong team there, and I think like a team like that who's undersized really needs like some credibility that the titles can give them to kind of prop them up for a while until the next team's around. So I'm going to take them to pull down those blue straps once everything's all said and done.
So I was on the same wavelength as you, and I definitely am with the Raw set of titles. I think that it's a no-brainer that this match ends with R-Truth and The Miz pulling down the Raw tag team titles. And I said for weeks to Romeo that this company does not want Awesome Truth to wear both sets of titles. So no. I was not surprised at all about the announcement for this ladder match. But I think the match ends with them pulling down the Raw straps. As far as the SmackDown straps, I'm actually going to go with A-Town Down Under. I think that whoever wins the first titles, their kind of win is kind of going to be overshadowed by Awesome Truth's moment of winning the tag team titles. So I think that the only team that you can put in that position is A-Town Down Under, because they're the heels. Them getting the titles is going to get heat that it will be washed away by Awesome Truth winning the Raw tag team titles. So Romeo, who do you got here?
The execution of taking down these tag titles is gonna have to be played off like well, because it just seems to me like so dumb. Why would you go up there to grab one set of tag titles? Why don't you just get the other set while you're at it? Like it makes no sense to me, like logically. So they're gonna have to play that off really well. Like, and I think Awesome Truth, they're what this is really being built about. Like R-Truth getting his WrestleMania moment. They have to get the second pair of titles no matter what. Like they should end the match getting the titles. The first set of titles, I got to go with SB3 here. I think I'd put it on A-Town Down Under. They seem to like them. They're very high on both of them. They are coming across well as a unit there. And so I'd give it to them, and they'd have to get it first. But like I said, like they just grab the SmackDown titles and they just leave the Raw ones. Like how do you got to execute that very well? You got to pull that off. But yeah,
you gotta have some teams like pull them down after they get the titles or something like that, or push the ladder over.
Something, yeah.
Yeah, let the heels get the SmackDown titles and the Raw titles. Awesome Truth, and yeah, there we go. It should be a good match. Car crash, chaos. Is there any way we could just add the Motor City Machine Guns while we're at it? Can't we? Come on, so give them a phone call. They're free. Come on.
No, you're gonna have the Arties. Arties, of course. You're gonna have
Well, that makes it an even number then. 8.
No, the Guns ain't coming. The Guns ain't gonna take no hot dog and a handshake that WWE offering the free agents. We got a super chat donation from Will Chisholm, a super Chisholm from Will. Thank you so much. He says, I bet the finish will be R-Truth will pull down one set and forget to get the other one. I can see him doing that. I can also see that being the way they cover it up.
That is a good execution, but I want to end the match with R-Truth moment, not have that and then, oh, wait, the match continues, by the way, just so you know.
Yeah, I'm the same way. And I think, I don't know, and I think it's something that Truth would do, and it's something that they would write for him. I think the hook here for me to make this the finish is like putting that Truth silliness aside for a little bit and just letting him have like a real moment at a WrestleMania, a big moment at WrestleMania to win the title and not be like a comedy joke, but just for real. And I think this idea would run counter to that. Maybe I'm the stick in the mud, but hey, I want like a real moment for Truth here, and I think you'll get it.
You are gonna get some goofiness to start though. Like he's probably gonna.
I know you will.
Or something.
Yes, or he'll think it's like the Royal Rumble or something like that.
We won, right? He throws him over the top and says, "We won, right?" Oh man, it would be great. But next we got something a little bit more personal, guys. It is brother versus brother, twin versus twin, Uso versus Uso, Jay versus Jimmy, Jay Uso versus Jimmy Uso. This story all started on the day they were born and came out the same womb. But the story on WWE television started at SummerSlam when Jimmy Uso turned on Jay Uso. Jay Uso decided to leave the bloodline after that, leave SmackDown. He went on Monday Night Raw, got a bit of success with Cody Rhodes as undisputed WWE Tag Team Champion, but it was Jimmy Uso who cost him that. He got a shot at the Intercontinental title. It was Jimmy Uso who cost him that. He got a chance to get a final bit of revenge against Drew McIntyre, and Jimmy Uso also cost him that, and let the world know that this was all Jay's fault, and that it was Jay's idea to leave the bloodline all along, and that at WrestleMania, he's going to finally put his brother down. Zach, what have you thought about the build to Jay versus Jimmy, and who do you think wins?
So, look, I love this match. I love this match a lot. I think it's one of the better brother versus brothers that they've done recently. Obviously, Brett and Owen is going to be up here. But I'm surprised that they haven't given this more time to shine on television. They had the one promo segment, which was really effective in terms of Jimmy and Jay talking back and forth to one another about just like what it means for them personally and where they're each at and why Jimmy did the things that he did. And I thought they would just kind of keep down that road. But after that promo, it was just that story between those two brothers kind of was built into everything else concerning the bloodline going into WrestleMania. So I wish they would have just had a little more time to work with one another one-on-one, because it's so compelling when they do. And they're both so good, together as a team, obviously, but as opponents too. I think they've had some momentum. And they just kind of left that. So I don't know. To me, that tells me that this might not be the last match that these guys have together. They may be trying to get more out of this as the year goes on. Maybe, something over the summer, or maybe they want to get like 2 or 3 PLE matches out of this. That's what this tells me. But for this match on this night, I think it's got to be Jay. I think you have to have Jay get his comeuppance here after a whole year of Jimmy screwing him over. He's got to get this win and, have the chips fall where they may after the fact. He's getting the win here for sure.
Yeah, I've been I've made it no secret that I have not enjoyed the build to this matchup at all. I thought that WWE really hasn't decided what they want the story to be. And I felt like the promo segment in a vacuum was good because it put a focus on them. But when Jimmy tells me that it's Jay's idea to leave the bloodline, when I know that's not the case, I know that it was Jimmy that left the bloodline first. I know that it was Jimmy that came back in 2021 with nobody's bitches shirt and was saying for Jay to leave the bloodline then. So you lied, and then the babyface did not correct you. The babyface did not correct you. Commentary did not correct you. And then that seems like that's the final promo segment heading into this big matchup. It's like, it's mind-boggling that more people are not pointing out that WWE has failed these two brothers. These two brothers are putting on great work in the ring as characters. Jimmy Uso has become like the court jester of the bloodline, and he's very funny and comedic with a lot of his like going for pounds and being left hanging and stuff like that. I love that. Jay Uso is just so charismatic, one of the best baby faces, but it just feels like the company didn't figure out what they wanted the story to be, and it hurt them in the build to this matchup. As far as the matchup, I totally agree with Zach. Jay Uso has to win this matchup, in my opinion now. Whereas in any other brother versus brother scenario, and we've seen it in past WrestleManias, Owen needed to beat Brett. Matt needed to beat Jeff. Jimmy needs to beat Jay, but Jay needs to win in general more. So I'll take Jay. Romeo, what have you thought about the build? Who do you think wins, Jay versus Jimmy?
What's up? Can you hear me well? Computer.
Yeah.
Start. Okay. The build, I feel like this is like chapter, like we're not. I'm agreeing with what Zach said. Like this is like fight one. They're gonna do multiple pay-per-views out of this, even though they're on opposite brands. Probably do a draft or something. And yeah, so that's like I feel like Jay shouldn't win because of that. I think Jimmy's gonna win this. I think Jimmy needs it more, like you said, and I think Jimmy is probably not gonna win all that clean either. I think Solo Sikoa's gonna be out there. I think Solo's gonna affect the outcome, and then he's just gonna have one big schmoz now with the three brothers, all three of them. So I got Jimmy winning. This feud, it needs Rikishi. It needs the father. It needs the father to come out shouts. It should have been for WrestleMania, but looks like we're just gonna get more out of this. And also like I want Jay to be in jeopardy for helping Cody finish the story in the Bloodline Rules. Like Jay and Sami, they both need to get taken down, like curtain, like so that when they come out to help Cody Rhodes, they can't really because they're just so beat down by the Bloodline. And Jay's beat down from Jimmy and Solo the night before.
Yeah, I think I'm mainly taking Jay as well because I feel like the Bloodline should lose every match they're in except for one this weekend. So that's another reason why I'm taking Jay for the win. And it's Saturday. They'll be all right for Sunday. They'll be okay. Then you got the matchup, one of the latest matchups that was added to the card. It is a 6-woman tag team matchup with the official non-Royal Rumble debut in ring for Jade Cargill, the former AEW TBS champion. She will team with the undefeated at WrestleMania, Bianca Belair, and the returning Naomi to face Damage Control's the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane, as well as Dakota Kai. Damage Control has made Bianca Belair's life a living hell for like 2 years, but they recently turned against Bayley. It was Naomi that sympathized for Bayley and tried to get involved and help her out, whereas Bianca Belair was trying to hold Bayley accountable for her past actions in Damage Control, but didn't want to leave Naomi hanging and helped her out. Damage Control laid them both out, but it was Jade Cargill who came out to make the save following her official debut on the SmackDown roster. You got the Black Girl Magic. You got Damage Control here. Romeo, what do you think about this matchup? And who do you think wins? Even though I think it's pretty obvious, I'll just say mine. Jade Cargill, Naomi, and Bianca win.
Yeah, there's no myth. Like Jade Cargill's not losing. You're not ending this Bianca streak that she's got going on. It's just too much at once to just have put Damage Control over. So yeah, give me the Black Girl Magic. Is that what we're calling them? I like it. BGM. I love it. Black Girl Magic. Yeah. Normally, I don't like factions losing clean to like 3 put together wrestlers. But to be honest, to be fair, Like, has Dakota ever teamed with the Kabuki Warriors at all before? No, right? She hasn't.
No, not really.
No. So
well,
they have
on
no chemistry.
on yesterday on Raw.
Okay. Oh well.
Yeah.
That'll. There's a big step up between that and what you're facing on Saturday. So give me PGM.
And historically, Damage Control doesn't do well against these babyface
Yeah.
all-star teams, whether it's War Games or at WrestleMania. Zach, what do you think about this matchup, and who do you think wins?
Yeah, I agree with you guys. This was a slam dunk. Slam dunk pick. If I were a bet man, I would put heavy money on this one. It's going to be Jade, Bianca, and Naomi winning this thing. I mean, like, it just is. It's all about Jade Cargill, and it's all about Bianca Belair's streak. And you got to make that look good. And I think, Jade's going to get her moments. She's going to get some big spots. She's going to look like $1 million. This is all about that team. So this is an easy one. This is an
Does
easy
she get the pin? Does Jade get the pin?
Yeah,
Of course. Yes, definitely.
Yeah. She pins Dakota for the win. There you go.
Oh, Dakota.
Sorry, Dakota.
Sorry.
We do have another Super Chat donation from Will Chisholm. Thank you so much once again, Will Super Chisholm. He says, so we want TBA, R-Truth teaming with Pac-Man Jones. I mean, I would take R-Truth and Pac-Man Jones teaming up instead of The Miz. I'll take that. I'm sorry.
So disrespectful to the Miz.
I'm sorry. Ever since The Miz got in...
cold.
I'm sorry. Ever since The Miz got into the whole program, it feels like the foot has been off the gas of R-Truth and Judgment Day.
I think it's that part of that is because Awesome Truth was around for a hot second. They tried to treat it as oh, this is the legendary tag team coming back. They're just not that. Anybody who was around watching it at that time is like, these guys kind of just sucked, and that's it. So yeah, that's why you feel the way that you do.
He was like, these guys just lost to Rocket and John Cena, two guys that didn't get along. That's the last we ever heard of them.
Yep.
Chris Rose says Bianca wins. LOL. Give Asuka her WrestleMania win. Yes, Asuka is looking like she's gonna go 0-5 at Mania. The reverse streak.
Somebody had to take Sasha Banks' place.
This is also true. Well, Sasha ended her streak before she left. But we got another tag team matchup, but not the one we're really looking forward to, but a very interesting one.
Speak for yourself. The Latinos are looking forward to this.
Not more. The Latinos love The Rock. Stop it. But it's Latino Civil War here. It is going to be Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee of the LWO versus Legado del Fantasma's leader, Santos Escobar, and the Judgment Day's Dominik Mysterio. Of course, last year, WrestleMania 39, we had Rey versus Dom, father versus son at WrestleMania, with Rey picking up the win. Hostilities have kind of just not been in the forefront, but it's kind of still been going on, still been enemies with one another, and Dom has still been one of the top heels with loudest boos at every show. And a couple of weeks ago, he actually helped Santos pick up the victory over Rey Mysterio. This led to Rey putting out the challenge for a tag team matchup and choosing the newest member of the LWO, Dragon Lee. I just have to say it, as far as the build to this matchup, it really, I like Dragon Lee. I think this is a great opportunity for him at his first WrestleMania. It just really seems like a missed opportunity not putting Andrade in his spot. Because Andrade, with the story that they are doing with Andrade being recruited by the Judgment Day, it would have been a nice little surprise to have him be the tag team partner for Rey. And even if it's him turning on Rey, I would have preferred that, even though this is going to be a good matchup. Zach, what have you thought about the build to this match, and who do you think wins?
It's a good match. A good matchup. It's going to be a good match. I like that. I like that part of it. The build, I'm with you on. It just seems like somebody backstage went, "Oh crap, we need a match for Dominik, and we need a match for Rey." What do we do? Okay, let's put this together. So it feels a little bit last minute, a little bit just kind of thrown together. And luckily, it's not holding down a top spot on the show. So you can get away with this in some instances. You don't want it up and down the WrestleMania card, but in some instances, you can get away with putting a filler match on. And I think that's what this is going to be in the end. Like, good match, yes. Super talented people in the match, absolutely. A lot of heat for Dominik to get from that WrestleMania crowd, no question. All that plays, but it just doesn't have the type of momentum that you'd want for a feud like this. As far as who wins, it's a tough call. I think you want Dragon Lee and Rhea to win this one, and not so much that they need to win, but I think when you have that moment where Dominik finally beats his dad in a match, it needs to be in a one-on-one situation. It needs to be in a situation where he can get the most out of it. And I don't think you want that to happen tucked away in a match like this that's just thrown together. So for that reason, I'll take LWO.
Yeah, and I you make really good points. You made me think about it a different way, in that, yeah, you do want to make the Dom finally beating his dad. It can't be in a tag team matchup. But we do know WWE will do stuff like that. So Romeo, who do you have, LWO or Dom and Santos?
Yeah, give me Rey and Dragon Lee. You can't have Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee team up. First time ever. Like they're trying to make it seem like Dragon Lee's the next Rey Mysterio. They want people to look back on this years from now and be like, oh, remember that time Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee teamed up? Like, yeah, they're gonna win. It continues Dom's letting down the Judgment Day. I like what they've been doing with Dom, where he's just doing his own things. He doesn't ask Judgment Day for permission. I'm sorry, mommy, it won't happen again. And then it happens 4 days later. He just does some shit that he didn't ask mommy about. Like, this has been fun with doing with Dominik. And Andrade, the Andrade and Rey would have been cool, but it seems like they want to take their time telling that story. Like they got Andrade in the Andre Battle Royal, where they want him to take care of Ricochet, and I liked Andrade and Raw. I was like, wow, you need me to take care of your business. Like that was funny. But yeah, it looks like they want to tell a longer story with that and Dom, and I'm fine with that. So yeah, and I agree with what you're saying that Dom can't. If he wins, he's got to win the singles match.
I like Dom getting a little too big for his britches these last couple weeks. Yes, I think that's like a good like nuance, where it's like, oh, he's kind of going off on his own. He's also asking, Rhea for help on the side. Like, can you help me make sure that Damien's not mad at me? Like I think it's just like a nice little added chapter. Like it's and he plays it so well. So
yes, it does.
Just calling that out.
He plays the spoiled brat very, very well.
Yes.
I agree with all of what you guys are saying. So yeah, I'm gonna agree with you. Dragon Lee, kind of, if you're gonna put him in this spot, you want a young guy to put him a big platform, a big stage to get the big win next to his kind of the person you're modeling him after. Then yeah, LWO has to get the victory here. We got another Super Chisholm Super Chat donation from Will. Thank you so much, Will. He says, SP3, you might want Cena because Pac-Man has some baggage legal-wise. I mean, Pac-Man always has baggage legal-wise. That's how he was in TNA. It's because he was suspended and couldn't practice with his team. That's why he was in TNA in the first place. So not surprised there, Will. Next up, we got what's being billed or being reported as going to be the semi-main event for the Intercontinental Championship. Gunther defends against Sami Zayn. I thought that WWE in a few weeks, pretty much 3 weeks, have put together a really good story, a strong underdog story of Sami Zayn playing the role of Rocky in Rocky 3. Well, Chad Gable plays the role of Apollo Creed, and he's getting ready for Clubber Lang in Gunther, the champion, and trying to regain some gold that he had in Philadelphia at that. So it just all seems appropriate. This is WWE's form of the Rocky story heading into WrestleMania 40. What have you thought about the build, Zach? Who do you think wins?
I love this build. I love this match. I think it's perfect. I think it's a perfect story. And I think that these two guys are the perfect guys to pull it off. Gunther has been magnificent as a heel champion. I mean, the guy there's confidence there. There's just a dominance there that he plays it so well. Sami, on the other hand, like exact opposite. Like, a little bit of doubt, a little bit of being unsure, but deep down believes in himself that he can do this, that he can win. So it's just like they're made for each other for a story like this on this kind of level. I thought the angle last night on Raw where Sami gets beat up and then like Gunther has to watch him like get back to his feet and show that fighting spirit. Like it's perfect. And Sami, nobody can make you feel in there like quite like Sami Zayn. I mean, when that dude gets beat up, it's like you feel that in your bones. So really, really well done. Really well done. Here's the thing. The trick with Gunther at this point is he's got to lose that Intercontinental title at some point because they want him for bigger and better things. Clearly. I mean, he's going to be on the WrestleMania marquee at some point. No question, in a world title match. You want to get him up there. But the trick is, how do you do that without kind of undercutting him? And so that means he can't lose to somebody totally random, but I think you want that IC title to stay on that second tier too, and not be on like the waist of somebody that's going to be a main event level act in the world title picture. So it's a really like careful puzzle that they have to solve. And to me, Sami Zayn is like the perfect person to solve that puzzle. I think he is kind of a second tier guy, but he's super popular with fans, so that if he beats Gunther, it's going to mean something. It's going to elicit a big reaction. I think this is a way to kind of give fans after night one like a reason to go home a little bit happy, to have that happy moment of, oh, Sami Zayn did it before The Rock and Roman trounce Cody and Seth and beat them in the main event. I think, but so all that's to say, I think Sami Zayn wins it here. I think they've got something lined up where they can do this match. Gunther can go on his way, do bigger and better things, and then Sami Zayn hold down that second tier level. He wins the singles title again. That's how I see this. That's how I see this going, because I just don't know if it's not Sami, then who? Maybe it's a Braun Breaker, maybe it's somebody like that. But to me, do it here. Get rid of it. Get rid of the title of Gunther. It's been a good run. It's made him into what he is now, but now they need him elsewhere. And so I would take this opportunity and get him up to the world title level.
My biggest nitpick of the build to this matchup is that they should have started it early. They should have started it earlier, because honestly, that's fair. The Gable Zayn segment was so great. My only nitpick of it was it should have been last week. It should have been last week, where we see that Sammy's getting better, that he could beat somebody like a Bronson Reed, but then Gunther is the distraction, and then that's how Sami loses. If they would have done that segment before Sami loses against Bronson Reed, and then do a second training segment where he's like looking over the loss to Bronson Reed and then getting better like that, I needed more than just one of these segments to really drive home the point of this story. But I think that they are setting up Chad Gable. They're setting up Bronson Reed for Sami Zayn. It seems like Sami Zayn is going to get the win here. Romeo, what have you thought about the build? Who do you think wins?
I agree with both of your takes, and I think how you've laid it out is how it's going to play out. But I really, really hope Triple H is just swerving us. I really, really do. Like he's building it up that Sami Zayn's gonna have his moment. I hope the rug gets swept from under him. I really do. I hope Gunther just wins and just wins like he said he was going to. I really, really do, because to me it doesn't hit home for me like if Sami Zayn wins. Okay, Sami wins, great. That's it. They're gonna have a great match. He's been IC champ before. Like it doesn't mean much for Sami Zayn for me to beat Gunther. What means a lot to me is for Chad Gable to beat Gunther. And I'm hoping Gunther wins and they just take it to the Raw after Mania and they have an impromptu Gunther Gable match and Gable beats Gunther there at the Raw after Mania to give Raw after Mania a big pop, a big moment, something like that. That's what I hope happens, but I think it's what you guys said is going to happen.
Yeah. I hope that Sami Zayn gets the win, because I feel like Sami deserves it, and I agree with Zach that you have to Gable winning it. It's going to be a great moment, but then what? Is he still gonna? Are they still gonna have the IC title on the same level as they had it with Gunther? I don't have as much faith as I do with Sami Zayn being the next champion.
I think it does so much more for Gable than it does for Sami Zayn. You say Sami Zayn.
It's nice that it's a great, like I said, it's a great moment. But sometimes in WWE, that's all it is. They don't know how to follow. If they don't know how to follow up after the moment, then I don't even want the moment.
Well, you have to.
And I don't have faith in them.
Sammy already got his moment. He got his moment last year at Mania, this WrestleMania Saturday.
I especially don't have faith with them after Chad Gable had the great performances with Gunther, and then they put him on the Viking Raiders treadmill for 6 months. I just don't.
Yeah, that's my issue too. Like, I just don't know. There was, I think you've started to see like a more serious Chad Gable with the training videos, and he's kind of been kept separate from Alpha Academy for the last 3 weeks as you've done that. But he's so ingrained in some of that low card comedy stuff right now that it is a good story for him to win. But I think about it from the Gunther side. Like, what does it do for him if he loses to Chad Gable? Like, that's where I get a little hung up. I think it would be a really cool moment. But then Gunther's got to live with, well, Chad Gable beat you, man. Like, I don't know. I don't know how that would stick long term. Maybe it can.
Because Zach is bringing up a great point, because Chad Gable, despite his great performances against Gunther, it's a stigma. If you've been watching this company for at least a year or two, Chad Gable is a jobber to the stars. He loses to the guys who are really stars. So if you then have Gunther lose to that guy, and not a guy that just main evented a WrestleMania, a guy that we've been in the top program, that we have accepted as a top babyface, then you're going to have to do work after Gunther loses to bring him back up to being a championship contender. Whereas I agree with Zach, if he loses to Sami, he could be in the title picture tomorrow.
So then why the hell is Gable training Sami Zayn on something he's never accomplished himself? That's like me trying
because
to
this is all about bringing their connection together, because Chad Gable's going to get jealous at the fact you helped me do what you couldn't do. And that's exactly what Apollo Creed did. Apollo Creed taught Rocky how to do something he never did. Yeah, I know you didn't, so I'm explaining to you the storyline of what
some of us haven't seen these Rocky movies. Me, CM Punk, some of us haven't seen.
Hold on a second. You haven't seen the Rocky movies?
I haven't seen a lot.
Oh my god!
Yeah, that's his gimmick. And then he gets mad at you when you talk about a show you never.
And then you just spoil.
Let's finally talk about the match everybody's looking forward to this coming Saturday, the main event of night one of WrestleMania 40. Roman Reigns and The Rock versus Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins, with the big stipulations having ramifications for night two's main event. If Rock and Roman win, it will be bloodline rules for Roman versus Cody on night two. And if Cody and Seth wins, there will be no bloodline interference. It will be one-on-one Cody versus Roman. The build to this all transpired, really changed when Cody Rhodes seemingly was about to hand over his WrestleMania main event opportunity to The Rock to face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40. This led to the big pivot and big change where The Rock turned heel at the WrestleMania kickoff and aligned himself with Roman Reigns after Cody Rhodes talked disrespectfully about their family after The Rock said they are the one true royal family in the business. We've had great promos from The Rock. We've had a transformation of the babyface Rock we've seen for the past decade to now the final boss, back with the fancy vest and shirts, back talking trash and cursing a storm, bloodied Cody Rhodes 2 weeks ago. And then last night on Monday Night Raw, both Roman and The Rock whooped both Seth and Cody in a very great angle to lead us to WrestleMania. Zach, what have you thought about what I thought has been one of the best builds to a WrestleMania main event in quite some time? And this is just for night one, and it leads to the night two main event here. What have you thought about the build? Who do you think wins here?
I mean, it's been a special build. I mean, it really has. I mean, you can count on one hand a match like this and its corresponding partner the next night that has gotten this type of attention, this type of reaction, this type of impact on business, on who's watching it. People are buying tickets and all that. So it's just been scorching hot from the minute that they went with it. So, I mean, thumbs way up. I think sometimes if I had to critique it, I think, you could say sometimes I can lose the narrative in terms of it's so hard for him to get universally booed because he's so popular and such a big star. People are excited to see him. And that's just, I think at this point, that's just part of the equation that they have to manage, that's going to happen. And then you got to make the work, that much better to pull a heel reaction from that same audience. And I think they've done that. Especially with these last two weeks. This match, to me, is going to set up what happens the next night. And I think, this is about the bloodline. It's about Cody Rhodes versus the bloodline. And that's the mountain that he has to climb. That's what he's up against in terms of, who he's fighting Roman Reigns, but it's really, the bloodline collectively that cost him the title last year. That's what he's up against on a broader scale. So in order for him to defeat that fully, the bloodline has to win this match. I think you're going to see The Rock pin Seth Rollins, most likely. I think that's the most likely scenario where Rollins takes the pin and, they move on and then they have a big bloodline rules match that Cody Rhodes ends up winning in grand fashion. So that's how I think this goes. I think, you can get cute with it. I think you can, and I can convince myself and make an argument the other way right here if I needed to. But I think straightforward is the approach here, and go with that. It's gotten you where you needed to go. Go with that. Get to Sunday, and then have the big payoff. So I think Roman and Rock take this.
I gotta agree with you, and it's basically what I've been calling for this matchup before I even knew the stipulation. I think that this whole thing has perfectly set up their road to WrestleMania 41 as well, where you can end WrestleMania weekend with undisputed WWE Universal Champion Cody Rhodes, and the top heel in the company is the final boss, The Rock, because The Rock gets the win on night one by pinning Cody Rhodes, doing what Roman is not going to be able to do on night two. And then we have The Rock staking his claim to being the new high chief of the bloodline. I think that this is all formulating to set up Rock versus Cody, as well as Rock versus Roman, either at next year's WrestleMania 42. I've been saying, Rock has been saying, long game. He's a long gamer. I think he's setting up for the next two WrestleManias. Romeo, what have you thought about the build? Who do you think wins?
One of the greatest builds of all time. One of the greatest. Oh, I've had so much fun. This has given us the final boss Rock. This heel character is insane. He's so good at it. And I'm just so glad that we got this direction and not the initial direction. I'm glad we got the pivot. Can you imagine the parallel universe, the other universe out there, where it's Rock Roman right now and Cody's Seth, and just how much different we'd be feeling about going into this meeting? Like, they'd still be rioting in the crowd.
Yeah,
they still would. We want Cody.
Yeah.
Every single night they'd be doing it, all the way up to Mania itself. Thank God we're here. And I was a little worried when this all began that this heel Rock is just a ruse, that Rock and Cody are in cahoots the whole time. They're just messing with Roman. They're going to have it where on night two, it's not going to be bloodline rules because The Rock is in on this and Roman fell for it. But no, abandon. If that was a plan, if it was, I hope they abandoned it weeks ago, because this final boss Rock character is too entertaining to just give up on. You have to keep that going. And you could use that to tell a whole new story of Roman Reigns once he loses everything. Get the sympathy, the empathy. Roman loses the titles. Roman loses his brothers, his cousin, his family, his wise man. Loses everything to The Rock. And then you tell that story. And you get The Rock Cody as well. But yeah, this is going to be so much. This atmosphere in the crowd is going to be electric. I can't believe there are people out there saying this should open WrestleMania. What?
In what world does this open WrestleMania?
No.
Cody's mom is gonna be out there in the audience. It's gonna have the belt.
Yep, the night's gonna end with The Rock handing the blood-soaked belt to Mama Rose,
which will have some tears on it.
And Mama Rose is gonna have to work the tears.
I hope she's been working on it, crying. Think of the most painful thing you could possibly think of and produce those tears, Mama Rose. It'll be such a visual. But yeah, Rock and Roman need to win so that all the odds are stacked against Cody on night 2. And I think Seth needs to have like a kayfabe injury in the match where like he tweaks his knee again.
Yeah.
Going into the Drew match because he should have never got involved in all this. He's going to learn his lesson the hard way. We'll talk about that as we talk about the Drew Seth match.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that right now. Because we're going to talk about night 2 of WrestleMania. And apparently it's going to kick off with Seth Rollins trying to follow up less than 24 hours from main eventing. From main eventing WrestleMania 40, it looks like he might open WrestleMania Night 2 as Seth Rollins will defend the World Heavyweight Championship against Drew McIntyre. McIntyre earned this opportunity by winning the Elimination Chamber back in February, but their history together dates back to last October when Drew McIntyre first started this slow burn heel turn and went after the World Heavyweight Championship, really directed his path, even though it's been on the Undisputed Universal Championship in the past, but it was the bloodline costing him his matchup against Clash at the Castle that led to his heel turn, and Seth Rollins has even furthered that by beating him on a couple of occasions for the World Heavyweight Championship. But of course, a big specter in this matchup will be on commentary as CM Punk will join the commentary table for this match. What have you thought about the build? I think that Drew McIntyre's character work has been amazing. Only second to The Rock in the build up to WrestleMania. But who do you think is going to win? And do you think CM Punk gets involved, Zach?
So Drew McIntyre is going to win this match. He's just way too hot as a character right now. He needs the belt to put like icing on that cake. And so I think that he wins it. And Seth, as Romeo just stated, Seth's protected because of what happened the night before. And so he's a little bit protected in that loss. He learns his lesson. The story there comes full circle. So that's how I think this is going to go. How it ends is the question, right? Like, does CM Punk get involved? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think Punk's going to be on commentary. I mean, he's not healthy, right? He's still dealing with the arm injury, and gets involved how? You know what I mean? Like, that's my issue. It's like he doesn't like either one of those guys, so he's not going to help Seth. He's not going to help Drew win. He's not going to cost either of them either. So I kind of think he's just on commentary and just is hovering around the title. I think the commentary work that he does can play into whatever he does next with Seth and or Drew. Those are two big matches that he can have. But on this night, I think he's going to be on commentary, and that's that. Drew wins. Off to the races. Drew kind of becomes the top guy on Monday Night Raw.
I have to agree with the result. I think that it's a no-brainer that Drew McIntyre should win this matchup and is going to win this match. But I think that CM Punk does get involved, and he is Shawn Michaels at SummerSlam 1997, and he accidentally cost Seth Rollins the World Heavyweight Championship. He hits him with his cast or hits him with something simple. It could be a punch. It doesn't need to be something where he physically exerts himself, but something simple where he costs Seth Rollins this win and helps his enemy, Drew McIntyre, win the world title. Romeo?
Yeah, just something that accidentally distracted long enough by accident that he gets Claymored, and that's it, And I think Seth will be helped by maybe he tweaked his knee the night before, messing around with the bloodline, which Drew warned him about in this build. He warned him, don't come into that match all beaten up and everything. I don't want no excuses when I beat you. Yep. Drew has to win. Hopefully he signed a new contract. If he hasn't signed a new contract, I'm sure he saw where Clash at the Castle is going to be in freaking Glasgow, Scotland. Sweeten the pot, baby. Come on. You're going to get the championship. You get to go to Scotland. Drew, what are we doing? Put your name on the bottom line, Drew. What are you doing?
We're gonna hear he re-signed right before Clash at the Castle. Like Cody right before WrestleMania is gonna be Drew right before Clash at the Castle.
But yeah, like they've been beating you over the head. Like Drew has been so dominant on the mic, like as a heel, that he took all this away from CM Punk. Like that promo last night on Raw, my goodness, and the funeral.
Oh man,
that was
absolutely
great.
perfect.
He watched Jared Leto's a Joker and decided to make it his whole personality. Oh my god! I was like, yo, Seth, you're done. You're done.
You're done.
Some of these insults you have gotten in the build to WrestleMania. It's like, dude, they have like put you here. They little brothered you this whole build to WrestleMania.
Clown emoji and that, like you're done. You're cooked.
But like the way they're doing it with Drew, is like with Punk, is like you gotta feel like there's some kind of comeuppance coming at Mania too, even though he wins. So like I don't put it past them. I do not put it past them to at least put some kind of a percentage of a chance for a cash-in after Drew wins. I do not put it past them that Punk sets that up, and that Drew's moment is taken from him.
They did make Damian Priest look strong in that 8-man tag last night, and it seemed like they were like positioning him as like the main guy in the Judgment Day, trying to make him look strong. So,
I wouldn't be surprised, and it'd be hilarious if like Drew has his moment again, and then again it's taken away from him. Like, wow,
poor guy. We got a contract. We got another super chat donation from Will Chisholm. Thank you so much. Oh, Will, he says, to be fair, Ray was out with knee surgery. I think that's why the heat cooled down. No, I think the heat cooled down because I don't think they really had plans to build up and push Santos Escobar after he turned heel. It was just about building to a matchup with Ray. It wasn't about building Santos to be a star. That's what it feels like as far as like the Santos part of this. Dom, he still seems like he still has the same heat that he had from last year's WrestleMania.
Yes.
Yeah. I just think it's just a bit of a retread match, and that also just plays into this too. Yeah.
That's true. But you got next up on night 2, freaking thank you to these guys, because Jimmy and Jey Uso isn't the coldest feud going into WrestleMania, because this match is on the card for night 2. You got the Street Profits and Bobby Lashley versus the Final Testament, the Authors of Pain, and Karrion Kross. These two teams have been feuding, or the feud started back in November, ladies and gentlemen. It started in November between Karrion Kross and Bobby Lashley, when Bobby Lashley beat him in the Contenders Tournament for the U.S. Championship. He beat Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross recruited Paul Ellering and the Authors of Pain to create the Final Testament and take down both the Street Profits and Bobby Lashley. In the process, we've seen beatdowns, we've seen tag team matches with Authors of Pain beating the Street Profits, as well as the Street Profits beating the Authors of Pain to qualify for the tournament for the 6-pack ladder match. But now we are here for WrestleMania Night 2, and it will be a Philadelphia street fight between these 6 men, which, I mean, hey, for all I'm saying about this feud being cold, I know that the match is going to deliver. That's for sure, being a Philadelphia street fight. Zach, what have you thought about the build? Who do you think wins on Sunday?
I mean, weak build. I mean, A for effort. You know, I like the idea of kind of trying to tell longer-term stories on the undercard. I think that overall that's a smart strategy. But I just don't think people care, who wins here, really. I mean, I think, Karrion Kross and that group is kind of just Street Profits and Bobby Lashley have been kind of all over the place in terms of, are they heels, are they not, are they wearing suits, are they not? I still think people know how to feel about this one. And so it's kind of flat because of that. I agree. It's going to be craziness. It's going to be kind of like your car crash match of the night. And, I'll take, to that end, I'll take the baby faces. I'll take Bobby Lashley and Street Profits just as we're just going to wrap up this story with the good guys winning type thing. But I don't think it'll be anything more than that.
Yeah, I think that it will be fun from bell to bell, but it will be completely forgettable after this weekend. And I will take Street Profits and Bobby Lashley for the win because they've gotten their heads beaten in this entire feud. They might as well win the blow off. Romeo?
Yeah, we've already spent too much time on this. Give me Lashley and the Profits. It should be a fun 9 minutes of weapons, and yeah, let them go.
That's about it. Next up on night 2 of WrestleMania, we're going to have the United States Championship being defended in a triple threat matchup, as it's going to be Logan Paul defending against Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. The issues between Logan Paul and Kevin Owens are the longest in this matchup. These two men have been feuding ever since before the Royal Rumble, when Kevin Owens won the number 1 contendership to face Logan Paul there. Logan Paul basically tried to use the brass knuckles, but Kevin Owens used it instead and got himself disqualified. Both men were then in the Elimination Chamber, where Owens was eliminated, but then Logan Paul was eliminated by Randy Orton, and he then got himself reinserted into the matchup, knocking out Orton with the brass knuckles to cost him the Elimination Chamber and the matchup for the World Heavyweight Championship. Ever since then, both men have kind of just been trying to go after Logan Paul, trying to get a measure of revenge, and it all leads to this Sunday for the United States Championship. Logan Paul's history at WrestleMania, I mean, last year he had a great matchup with Seth Rollins. The year before that, he was very impressive in his debut matchup, teaming up with The Miz against the Mysterios. What do you expect from Logan Paul here? Romeo, we'll start with you. What have you thought about the build? What do you expect from Logan Paul, and who wins?
I expect more of the same from Logan Paul. It's amazing how he started and where he's come from to now. He's like in the ring at WrestleMania with 2 of the all-time greats. Like, that's pretty awesome. That's pretty cool. The way this feud's been going, it's like he's due a comeuppance here. Like the way he's been cheating with the brass knucks and all that. But I just don't know. Like, I can't choose between Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. Like, I feel like they should like cancel each other out and Logan Paul just sneaks out another victory. That's the way I do it. I want that to happen. Because what does Kevin Owens with the U.S. title do for? I always wanted LA Knight to be the guy to take the U.S. title from Logan Paul. I thought that was the WrestleMania match, but we didn't end up getting that. Hopefully that's still on the agenda, maybe for a pay-per-view coming up here. And maybe that's the direction they go. So I got Logan Paul winning. And you got to keep the title off of Randy, because we need Randy eventually in 2024 to start hearing those voices in his head again, especially when the draft happens and he's on the same brand. Well, Cody Rhodes could be on SmackDown anyways.
Yeah.
So it doesn't even matter. He's got to hear the voices in his head telling about you're better than Cody Rhodes. And we need heel Orton down the line. So let me get a Logan Paul to win this and let it bother Randy Orton.
Zach?
I'm taking Logan Paul too. WWE loves having this title on Logan Paul. They love it. And so I think it's going to be there for a while. The triple threat, I think eventually, Logan Paul is going to have this title, and beating him is going to mean something, and I think you want that for somebody. And Randy and Kevin Owens, like, neither of those guys are like guys that can really benefit from that. I think Randy in particular is somebody that's kind of outgrew the United States Championship, so that doesn't make a ton of sense either. So, I think like you just go with what makes the most sense here, and that's Logan Paul retaining. I expect Logan Paul to take some sort of creative, crazy RKO. That's going to be like his social media moment for the weekend, but he still wins, and I think he's going to win in the end. That makes the most sense. Keep the heat there. Keep the exposure that comes along with doing business with him there. Just go.
Yeah, it makes all the sense in the world to keep the title on Logan Paul, especially with the announcement that SummerSlam is going to be in Cleveland. I think that he's going to have a long run with this, and he's going to probably be the U.S. champion heading into there. And that's when they do the LA Knight matchup, and LA Knight beats him in his hometown. Maybe I think that yes, I think that's the route that they should probably go. I'm gonna go with Logan Paul retaining as well. But I've liked how they use Logan Paul, and it feels like Logan Paul is elevating the U.S. title.
Yeah,
it does. Something? It really does. Yeah.
Speaking of the guy we keep mentioning throughout this, talking about Logan Paul, You have LA Knight. Yeah, he'll be going one-on-one with AJ Styles. This is more of a grudge match. These two men have been feuding ever since AJ Styles returned in December of 2023. He came back for a little bit of revenge on the Bloodline who took him out, but also the man who walked over his body and took his spot in LA Knight. These two men have been at each other's throats ever since then, getting involved in the Fatal 4-Way at Royal Rumble. And then AJ Styles took a trip all the way to Australia to cost LA Knight the Elimination Chamber matchup after he felt LA Knight cost him the qualifying matchup for the Chamber. Then we've taken things even more personal when LA Knight home invaded AJ Styles, showing up at his house, getting himself arrested. Then he dressed up as a production person just to get his hands on AJ Styles some more on this past Friday SmackDown. These two guys have turned up the heat a little bit on this rivalry in the last 2 weeks ever since the home invasion. But I mean, it was a very ice cold feud, and I don't understand why AJ was that upset to begin with in the first place. But Zach, what have you thought about the build to AJ and LA? Who do you think wins?
This is such a weird match to have at WrestleMania, I think. I think when you write down on paper, like, this is what happened, you say to yourself, oh, that's a pretty good feud. That's a pretty good grudge feud. I mean, it makes sense. Like, wow, these guys really don't like each other. And I think that's true, but it's just like, something just doesn't click for me. Like, it's like, is it awkward because everybody likes AJ and LA Knight? Is it awkward because you don't believe that they really don't like each other? Or is it awkward for your reasoning, which I think is correct, that, dude, what a weird and kind of like small way to start hating somebody so much. Like, it wasn't that bad, AJ. Like, come on, man. Like,
I think that's it. That's it. It's like the Cody Brock. It's like Cody Brock. Like, if the reasoning for the feud to begin with, it's not going to be as effective as they hope it will be. Right. If you don't make that clear why they're feuding in the first place.
Yeah, and so like they're doing all this stuff and like they're checking boxes, but it doesn't have like as much meaning or context that I think it needs to. So, that's where I think this thing is at. Again, A for effort. I like the idea of having mid-card grudge matches on this show that have gotten time. That is good. Yeah. This is just off. I'll take LA Knight, but it's just bizarre. It's just a weird one for me.
Like, in retrospect, you probably could have done like swapped out. Like, Logan Paul never wins the U.S. title. Say AJ Styles wins the U.S. title, and we could have done a grudge feud with Logan Paul and LA Knight, and it would have worked a lot better than this.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Or how about this, which was my thought the entire time, was that match, that triple threat match, is going to be a 5-way, like a multi-man and you have AJ and LA Knight in it as well.
They were going to do, they probably thought of that. That was probably in the discussion table, but then they was like, oh, we're going to do tag team title ladder match, so we're not going to do that.
Yeah. I like Hater AJ. This guy flew how many hours just to go cost them the match. Hater AJ has a long way to go to reach the levels and heights of Hater Drew, but it's one step at a time. One step at a time for AJ. I like. It seems like they want to give LA Knight his own attention at WrestleMania. He's not as mega hot as he was at the end of last year, but he's still relatively hot. The crowd still loves him. They're gonna go crazy for him at Mania, and they want to keep that going. I say LA Knight wins here.
I agree. I think we're pretty much going to be all in agreement that LA Knight needs to get the victory in this one. Like, there's only one reason to do this match at Mania is for LA Knight to have the big showcase.
Let me ask you something. Should this have been the Philly Street Fight?
I think like an ambulance match or something like that. Like, yeah, like some stipulation would have added something to this.
Yeah, I agree.
This is another one that I can see going, more pay-per-views. Like, them running it back at like a Backlash or something like that. So I don't think this is the one and done, unfortunately.
Yeah, and if that's the case, yeah, there is a chance that AJ could win this one just to set up like a rematch at like a Backlash or Clash at the Castle.
Oh man!
You know how they treat LA Knight. LA Knight wasn't even on the card last year in LA.
How do you say yeah in French? Oui? Is it just
Oui.
yes? Just say word for both?
Oui. So it seems, according to Dave Meltzer, the 2 Royal Rumble winners will close out WrestleMania weekend, because the semi-main event on night 2 will see the 2024 Women's Royal Rumble winner Bayley versus her former Damage Control stablemate, the WWE Women's Champion IYO SKY. These 2 women were paired up in Damage Control all the way back in August of 2022 at SummerSlam. They made their debut as a faction, and it led to IYO SKY winning the Money in the Bank last year and then winning the WWE Women's Championship at SummerSlam. And Bayley was by her side the entire way, helping her, actually leading the way, being her offensive lineman when she went to cash in Money in the Bank back at SummerSlam. She's helped her in countless title defenses since then. And then Bayley's basically prophecy for Damage Control was supposed to be completed after the addition of Kyrie, which Bayley did not seem pleased about, but came around about. And then Asuka also joining the group. It led to Kabuki Warriors winning the tag team titles. And then Bayley was going to complete the prophecy by winning the Royal Rumble. She did that, but all along it was IYO SKY, Kyrie, and Asuka talking trash about Bayley in Japanese, and Bayley caught on. She took her Rosetta Stone and found out about it in a great segment, turning the tables on Damage Control and beating them down and taking out a lead pipe. And then Dakota Kai kind of seemed like she was stuck in the middle of this whole situation, but all along she was paired up with IYO and the gang and turned on Bayley as well. Bayley has gotten some help from Naomi, and then by circumstance, Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. But it all comes down to this and their individual issue between IYO and Bayley. Zach, what have you thought about the build? Who do you think wins on Sunday?
So the build has been interesting. Once again, I like the fact that they've put effort into building this long term. This is a long-term story that they've been telling since SummerSlam, and really before that, if you take into account the time they were together and on the same page. I like that a lot, and I just don't think they've landed the plane with Bayley. You'd think you'd want at this point like a groundswell of momentum for like a lot like Cody right now, where it's like people are just ready for Bayley to win that title and to beat IYO SKY, and you just don't have that right now yet. You just like she's there. I think people are behind her, kind of, but you don't have this like groundswell of momentum where it's like, her winning the title at WrestleMania is going to be this like crescendo moment, and so something didn't click with the build. I think that Bayley hasn't had an opportunity to really kind of declare like her mission and to win the title, to finally have a championship. I think there's a lot of things that they could have done to to make the audience invest more in her winning this championship that they just haven't done. They leaned very much into, it's just as important for Bayley to beat Damage Control as it is to win that title. And I think they've lost the title in this shuffle. That being said, I do think that Bayley's going to win. I think Bayley's going to take the title here. I wonder if they have like a special entrance plan for her at WrestleMania with like maybe the Bayley buddies make a return, something to that effect. Not like a full pivot back to like Hugger Bayley, but somewhere in the middle. I think she wins here. I don't know how much you can do with IYO SKY as champion at this point. She's had a great run. I think she's had a better run as champion than anyone expected her to have. But it's, I think even though Bayley's not scorching hot, her with the title, I think, opens up possibilities of things to do after the fact with that title on SmackDown. So I'm taking Bayley.
I agree with you about the build, and I think that it mainly comes down to the build has been Bayley versus Damage Control. And they spent almost a month dragging their feet on Dakota Kai, and Dakota Kai doing the most obvious turn ever. They took like 3 weeks to do that. And then when Dakota turns, Dakota's doing all the promo work. So then it becomes Dakota versus Bailey. So it's like you totally have missed the plot. They did a promo segment with IYO finally saying in her own words why she turned on Bailey. And I was like, once again, I feel like I've said this a couple of times. A little too late for that one. It's like you should have done this like 2-3 weeks ago, not 2 weeks before the event. It just feels a little too late. So yeah, I agree with you. It doesn't feel like Bailey is scorching hot that she should win. That's why I'm going with IYO SKY. I feel like this more than any of them. You said this a couple of times, Zach, but more than any of the matches you've said before, this feels like the first of a couple of PLE matches between IYO and Bailey. And I can only imagine WWE expects Bailey to get a big reaction in France. They expect her to get a big reaction in Glasgow and Scotland. Those are the next 2 pay-per-views. I think the title change happens on one of those.
It's funny, like this feud has a little similarities to Cody Roman because Cody Roman, like that's where the title is. But Cody and Rock, all those interactions are better.
Yeah.
Bailey, Dakota, like it feels like Bailey should be beating Dakota for the championship, but she's got to go through IYO SKY. She's the one with the championship. I agree like with both of you what you're saying. I could see the case for either one to win. I gotta think it's Bailey though at WrestleMania. I gotta think Damage Control tries to interfere, and then Jade, Naomi, Bianca, they come take care of them. I gotta think. But I could if there has to be a few underdogs winning, a few things we don't think.
And it also Damage Control always loses. Why does Damage Control always lose at these big pay-per-views?
And they win now because Bailey's no longer with them.
Yeah, let them win. Let them finally win.
That's right.
And it's against
common
Bailey.
denominator.
Yes,
Against Bailey. Oh, so then it's going to be Bailey always loses.
Oh man, I'm fine with that. I want Damage Control to win.
But it's interesting. It's interesting that this is before the main event. Like, are you going to have Bailey having this feel good moment before eventually another feel good moment, or are you going to bring the crowd down to absolute depression before you lift them back up?
Like Zach said, you have Sami beat Gunther right before you let the crowd down with the Bloodline winning on night one. You let the crowd down with IYO beating Bailey because the numbers get the better of her, and then or it can be the numbers come out with Damage Control. Bianca, Jade, and Naomi try to help, but Bianca by accident lost Bailey the win.
Not another one.
I don't know about this match placement either. I know this is what Meltzer's reporting, but I surmise that this may change. This seems like a weird spot to have this title match. So I want to be on record of saying I think this match moves between now and Sunday night.
I think this match should open night one. Honestly.
Yeah, and I think Seth Drew could be the before.
Yeah,
right. That's what I was. Yes.
Agreed.
Because the way I had night one, I depressed the hell out of you. I had Gunther win and the Bloodline win.
Yeah, you're a depressing person.
Man.
And then finally, night 2 of WrestleMania and WrestleMania 40 in general will end with Roman Reigns defending the undisputed WWE Universal Championship for the second year in a row against the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. This is a very historic matchup. This is the first time, I believe, that one matchup has headlined back-to-back WrestleMania since Cena and The Rock 10 years ago. It will also mark Roman Reigns becoming the most prolific WrestleMania main eventer of all time. On night 1, he will main event his 8th WrestleMania, and on night 2, he will surpass Hulk Hogan for the most WrestleMania main events with his 9th in history. But the real question to you folks is, will Cody finish the story? Romeo.
There you go. There you go. Roman passed Hogan. He did it. We don't have to worry
about
the imaginary third place record that everyone's in love about. The WrestleMania era, longest title reign. Since when we start counting records in the WrestleMania era? Stop. Stop.
And
Bruno has the record.
Hogan's title reign started before the WrestleMania era. So
That's
what are we
right.
talking about?
So it's invalid. Like Bruno's record is Bruno's record. Let him have it. That's it. That's the record. It's never going to change. It's just like some baseball records. They're never going to be broken. Deal with it. Roman gets the most mania main events, and like, there you go. It's fine. Everybody wins. And Cody finishes the story. Enough. I don't want to hear any argument. If Roman wins, if you blow this just for the stupid third place title reign, just to get to that, it is one of the dumbest financial decisions WWE will have ever made. I'm sorry. As far as like, I can't wait for this entrance. I need Rocky music. I need Cody running up the Rocky steps with the wrestling club. I need give me the greatest entrance ever for Cody pulling this off. I need all that. And the match, I love what everyone's been saying. We need the most overbooked match of all time. We need the Attitude Era match. And like I've been saying, fully expect Jay to come help, Sami Zayn to come help, but I think they're going to be beaten down, and it's not going to be enough because they will have went through Jimmy, Solo, Gunther. Like it's a lot to ask for them. And Seth Rollins, you ain't gonna see him. He will have lost, and I won. He will have lost to Drew. He's like, I did all this for Cody, and what? For what? Just for me to lose the title and hurt my knee again? He's not gonna help Cody Rhodes. I don't see a heel turn. To me, that's the heel turn of Seth Rollins. He just doesn't come out to help. Yeah, not showing up. And then you could tell that story down the line on Raw. Cody Rhodes finishes the story, and he gets the help. Come on, Stone Cold John Cena. You don't do that camera shot on Raw for nothing. Come on, you were foreshadowing something. Deliver on it, because I'm almost gonna be a little bit disappointed if I don't get it now. I need that. I need the music to play. I need the crowds to go crazy. I need that Rock Austin stare down, and then Cody just wins. And then you have that scene, the end of the match. You got John Cena, you got Stone Cold, two of the biggest baby faces of all time. You got Jay, Sami. It's like the Avengers win. This is the Avengers win. Thanos loses. That's it. And you have one great spectacle ending visual, like you have at a lot of these at the end of WrestleMania 1, the end of WrestleMania 10, WrestleMania 20, WrestleMania 30. You add WrestleMania 40 to the list.
Yep. I think this is going to be overbooked to the max. I think that I don't think Sami is going to get involved because they've separated him from this story completely. I think that Jay does come out and him and Jimmy can fight it off and he'll get rid of him. I think that you have Solo come out and then John Cena makes his return and fights off the tribal heir. Then you get Rock come out and it's Stone Cold glass shatter, hits him with the steel chair like 1999, hits Rock with the steel chair. We get the near fall. And then finally, when all the dust is settled, Cody 3 Crossroads. Cody finishes the story. I think Cody gets the win here. And yes, you end the night with all the generations, pretty much since Hulk Hogan, of every face of WWE outside of Hulk Hogan, because we don't need him there. But
don't think Hogan's not politicking. Like, hey, can I get involved in this?
He's like, I want to get involved too. You got Austin, Rock, Roman, Cena, and now Cody, all involved in this one big main event, the real passing of the torch to the next face of the company.
Well, I've heard the rumors that Undertaker wants to be involved.
No, we're good. I'm good. I don't want that. Zach, does Cody finish his story?
I'm good on that too. No Undertaker, please. Yes, Cody finishes the story here. I mean, come on, guys. Like, this is a thing. I agree with Romeo. Like, look, you don't hold on this just to break some meaningless record that's not really breaking the record. Like, come on. Like, what are we talking about here? This is crazy. So Cody's going to win this match, and it's going to be a heck of a moment. It's going to be a big thing. I mean, look, this is 2 years in the making, 2 years plus, really. It's not easy to pull this off. It's not easy to pull off what they've done. I mean, it just isn't in 2024. It's hard to build a babyface like this and to keep him strong through, what can be a fickle audience, not to steal Bryan Danielson's turn, but it's true. So no, you go with this, you grow with this. You got a year extra out of it. you're not playing with fire again. You're going to go and you're going to put the belt on him. That's that. How you do it, I mean, you guys really make a compelling case for like just an overbooked Attitude Era craziness. I hope that they take care in that. Makes total sense to me. I think that in the end, you know, you got to have Cody beat Roman definitively, like in that ring on his own. So as long as it's not like, you know, Austin stunning Roman and then, you know, Cena hitting the attitude adjustment on him and then Cody beating him.
Yeah, no.
I think you're okay. You want to be careful with how you do that, with how you integrate that madness into it. But if done right, chef's kiss. It's going to be a great moment.
Just enough to take out the bloodline. And then Roman maybe gets a near fall after that. You maybe think he's still wins.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. You can still do that.
And can I add one more thing when Cody wins? Can I add one more thing? He goes to ringside. He presents the championship to his mother after the torture and hell she went through the night before. And you know what?
Night one ends with the blood-soaked title, and then night 2 ends with Mama Rose getting the undisputed title.
Yes.
And throw a picture of Dusty Rhodes with the championship on the Tron to get Cody's tears working.
Oh God, you're just trying to make everybody cry.
I already watched the Great Doc. I'm good. I can keep crying.
Will Chisholm with a super chat donation. Thank you so much, Will. He says, we know if Bayley wins, we get in her versus EO 2 more matches, and then we get Bayley versus Dakota for the title. Then SummerSlam, Tiffany beats Bayley for the title, or Jade. It could be Jade. You never know. I don't feel like WWE is gonna wait long to put a title on Jade. I just don't.
I'll tell you what.
I don't either. I think you go to that quick. So I think you could like map out that exact scenario there that Will laid out. Take out Tiffany, put in Jade. That makes just as much sense to me.
They all better watch out because I've seen the Queen's rehab videos. They all better watch out.
Oh boy, he's ready for that.
Dude.
But thank you so much to everyone who joined us live here for our WrestleMania 40 preview. And thank you so much to our very special guest, Zack Heydorn, joining us live here. Zack, I want to give you the floor. Please let everybody know where they can follow you and see all your great work across all the different platforms, sir.
Hey, well, guys, thanks so much for letting me join you on this show. There's going to be a loud sound here where I'm recording. I apologize for that. But thank you for letting me be here. It's been a pleasure. I always enjoy talking with you guys and talking wrestling. Thanks to everybody who super chatted and who joined us in the live chat. Appreciate you. You can follow more of my stuff at Brass Ring Media. Follow at @BrassRing_media on Twitter, on X. That's where, you know, you'll be able to find all of our stuff. We have a YouTube channel where you can subscribe for free. We are live on YouTube 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday. This week being WrestleMania week, it's even more than that. So check us out for more type of discussion and analysis of pro wrestling just like this. There's multiple shows, multiple co-hosts, multiple hosts of shows that I'm not even on. Check that out. Become a Brass Ring Media member on YouTube. You can become a subscriber on our Substack page, which is our written content, our written work. We've got show reviews and features and all sorts of different work from myself and from my team. And then last but not least, if you join us on Patreon, you get access to everything that we're going to be doing this week for WrestleMania. So special interviews, our post-WrestleMania Night 1 and Night 2 review shows. Our Discord community opens up for you as a member. I hope that you give us a shot. It's $4 only, get you access to everything that we do. We certainly would appreciate it and would love to have you. Would love to earn your business. So find us there, patreon.com/Brass Ring Media. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Zack. Romeo, let everybody know where they can follow you and when they'll see you again here.
For Romeo Anthony, all social media, and I'll be your host this weekend, starting with WrestleMania Friday, Stand and Deliver, WrestleMania Saturday, WrestleMania Sunday. Don't watch alone, watch with us. We'll have fun. Yeah.
And you can follow me on the Twitter machine at TrueHillSP3. Follow the gang, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at TrueHillHeat. We will have a special ROH Supercard of Honor 2024 preview that will be up on the channel later today, 7:05 p.m. Eastern Time, with myself and Stat King. And join us live tomorrow. I believe it's going to be at 12:05 p.m. Eastern Time. Myself and Corey Brenner of Fightful for our NXT Stand and Deliver preview, because it's WrestleMania week. We got so much to enjoy. We'll still have AE Ramble, Elite Heat, the usual AEW stuff, but we're all gearing up for this Saturday and Sunday. So thank you so much to Zach. Thank you so much to Romeo and everyone in the chat.
One last thing to predict. Omos and Otis will have a Philly cheesesteak and pizza eating contest later today.
Really? I mean, of course. So who wouldn't take Otis in that? I'm sorry, Omos. I'm a big fan of Omos, but I'm gonna take Otis there. But this has been our WWE WrestleMania 40 preview. For Zach, for Romeo, it is me, your True Hill Phenom SP3. We are signing off until next time. Later, y'all.